Welcome to the Just NUKE IT podcast. This week, we're launching an apocalyptic probe into two wildly different flash fiction stories that explore survival in the face of utter devastation. Get ready for action, suspense, and maybe even a touch of the unexpected.
Okay.
Rate and follow the show for more captivating stories from the Just NUKE IT podcast. Our first apocalyptic probe takes us into a world ravaged, not by bombs, but by a relentless pandemic in the flash fiction story, From Conquest to Cure, that you shared with us. It's a fascinating setup, a brutal warlord facing an enemy his armies can't conquer.
It's definitely an interesting premise. What's immediately striking is the irony, isn't it? Kael the Conqueror, who has built his power through force, is suddenly confronted by a threat that renders all his military might useless.
Right.
He's used to surveying conquered lands, but now he's watching his own ranks, decimated by something he can't even see.
Okay, so let's unpack Kael's initial reaction to the plague. A warrior facing an invisible enemy. You can almost picture his confusion. His whole identity is built on strength and conquest. And suddenly, that doesn't mean anything. The news he's getting isn't about battlefield victories anymore, but about the relentless spread of this pale horseman. It's a complete upending of everything he knows.
Absolutely. The story notes, he was a warrior, not a healer. That simple statement really highlights the limitations of his previous understanding of power. All his authority, so absolute in warfare, is completely ineffective against this biological onslaught. You can almost feel the shift in the atmosphere, the dread replacing the usual battle lust in his men's eyes, signaling the sheer terror this plague instills universally.
This definitely sets the stage for an unexpected transformation, doesn't it? Kael sees his kingdom becoming a potential tomb, and that seems to be the catalyst for a pretty dramatic shift in his priorities.
Right.
Instead of planning the next invasion, he's suddenly focused on keeping what he has left alive.
And a key takeaway for you here might be how profound crises can force even the most rigid leaders to adapt. Kael recognizes the existential threat and, crucially, redirects his considerable resources, his army, towards a completely different goal: survival, the repurposing of siege towers, weapons of war, into transports for medicine.
Wow.
And the sudden importance of healers who were previously disregarded. It's a powerful illustration of necessity driving innovation and a fundamental change in values.
And the reaction of the terrified peasants is quite surprising. Instead of fleeing this notorious warlord, they start to see him as Kael the Protector, even offering their traditional knowledge of herbs and quarantines. That's a fascinating reversal of fortune, isn't it? The very people he once subjugated now hold a vital key to survival.
And their knowledge
Becomes a valuable resource.
This really makes you think about the foundations of authority, doesn't it? Kael's previous power was built on force and intimidation. Now, his legitimacy, and more importantly, his ability to provide safety, earns him a completely different kind of respect, even collaboration. It suggests that true leadership, especially when facing a shared crisis, lies in the capacity to serve and protect, transcending past conflicts and power dynamics.
The flash fiction story doesn't shy away from the ongoing struggle, though. The plague continues its relentless march. And then, Kael faces a familiar kind of threat. A rival warlord, untouched by the disease, appears on the horizon. This moment of decision feels crucial to understanding the depth of his evolution.
Okay.
He's confronted with an enemy he understands, a challenge he's equipped to handle in his old way.
So, this is a pivotal moment indeed. Does Kael revert to his old instincts, the only life he truly knew? Or has the shared experience of fighting this invisible enemy fundamentally altered his perspective? The story poses a really compelling question here. Was the shield he'd forged meant for more than just guarding against disease? It makes you wonder if this crisis has forged not just a temporary shift in strategy, but a lasting change in Kael's understanding of his role and responsibility.
Our second apocalyptic probe takes us in a completely different direction.
Okay.
We're plunging into a post-apocalyptic world, facing threats from the beyond. In the flash fiction story, Spectre of the Stage. This one features a ghostly figure, the Phantom of the Palais Opera, who becomes an unlikely protector. This was the second story you were curious about. And it's a fascinating twist on the usual survival narrative.
What's immediately striking is the genre shift, isn't it? We've moved from a very real biological threat to something firmly in the realm of the supernatural. The setting itself, the ruined Palais Opera, adds this layer of Gothic atmosphere and hints at a lost world of art and culture, making the Phantom's role even more poignant.
We're introduced to Maya, a resourceful scavenger whose path crosses with the legendary Phantom. Initially, he's just a campfire story, but then Maya witnesses him, fighting these otherworldly creatures. Not your typical post-apocalyptic mutants or raiders, but something far stranger. What stood out to you about this initial encounter?
For me, it's Maya's almost pragmatic acceptance of the unbelievable. Even in a world where the familiar has been shattered, encountering a ghost, fighting interdimensional entities is still a huge leap. But her initial fear quickly gives way to a desperate curiosity. It speaks volumes about the adaptability of humans in extreme circumstances, the need to understand, and potentially leverage any new element, no matter how bizarre, for survival.
So, let's examine the Phantom's motivations. He tells Maya that he guards the ruins of the Opera House, a place of beauty, from these entities he sees as defiling it. That adds such a poignant layer to his spectral defense. He's not just some random apparition. He's tied to this specific place, in the memory of what it represented.
Exactly. His motivation isn't necessarily about saving humanity in a grand sense, at least not initially. It's deeply personal, rooted in a profound sense of loss, and a fierce desire to preserve the memory of beauty in a broken world. This very specific and almost melancholic dedication makes him a much more compelling and nuanced protector.
The flash fiction story takes an interesting turn when Maya, driven by her own need to survive and protect her familiar scavenging routes, forms an alliance with the Phantom. This unlikely partnership between the hardened survivor and the mournful ghost is really the heart of the story, isn't it? It's a clash of two very different worlds and motivations, yet they find this common ground in a shared need for defense.
This unlikely alliance really highlights the resourcefulness that can emerge in desperate situations. Maya, with her practical skills and focus on immediate survival, recognizes the Phantom's unique abilities as a potential asset, and the Phantom, bound by his grief and his mission to protect the Opera House, finds a new purpose in Maya's grounded fight against the encroaching darkness. It's a mutually beneficial relationship born out of necessity, bridging the gap between the living and the spectral.
A key element of this flash fiction story is the Phantom teaching Maya to perceive the spectral bleed, this thinning between realities. That allows these horrors to manifest. That introduces a whole other dimension to post-apocalyptic survival. It's no longer just about scavenging for food and water and avoiding other humans. There's this entire other layer of reality, these otherworldly threats that Maya now has to contend with.
What's particularly intriguing here is how the story blends genres. You've got the gritty realism of post-apocalyptic survival intersecting with elements of the supernatural, and even a touch of cosmic horror. With these entities coming from beyond, the spectral bleed serves as this narrative device to explain these incursions, expanding the scope of the threats humanity faces in this new reality in a really imaginative way.
We also see Maya's role in grounding the Phantom, teaching him the grim practicality of a world beyond his grief. This reciprocal learning really underscores the strength of their unusual bond. It's not just the Phantom teaching Maya, she's also offering him a connection to the present, a reason to engage with the ruined world he's trying to protect, even in its diminished state.
That reciprocal learning is so crucial. The Phantom provides Maya with the means to perceive and fight these new threats, while Maya, in turn, anchors him to the tangible reality he's sworn to protect. It suggests that even in the most extreme and bizarre circumstances, human connection and a shared sense of purpose can provide unexpected strength and meaning, bridging even the divide between life and death, or perhaps life and the spectral realm.
The climax we see involves their combined efforts against a hulking abomination in the ruins of the Louvre. This macabre ballet of salvaged tech and spectral abilities really showcases how their teamwork has evolved. You get this vivid image of the ghost and the scavenger, each using their unique skills in tandem to combat a truly terrifying enemy.
This scene beautifully brings together all the disparate elements of the story. Maya's practical ingenuity with scavenged technology, combined with the Phantom's spectral powers, creates this unique and surprisingly effective fighting force. Their teamwork, forged through shared experiences and a growing mutual respect, becomes their most powerful weapon against these unimaginable otherworldly threats.
So, as we conclude this apocalyptic probe, we've explored two very different responses to world-ending scenarios. From Conquest to Cure, we saw a figure of immense power redirect that power towards preservation, discovering an unexpected sense of purpose in battling a faceless enemy. It really makes you think about the true nature of leadership and what ultimately holds value when everything else is stripped away.
What really resonates from Conquest to Cure is this idea that even individuals who seem defined by brutality and conquest can be capable of profound change When confronted with a threat that transcends their previous motivations, it challenges our assumptions about fixed character and suggests that extreme crisis can reveal unexpected depths of compassion and a different kind of leadership.
And in Spectre of the Stage, we encountered a protector emerging from the echoes of the past, a guardian of beauty, standing against unimaginable threats. The unlikely alliance between the living and the spectral raises fascinating questions about where we find strength and who our allies might be in the face of the unknown.
Spectre of the Stage leaves you contemplating the enduring power of memory, the significance of preserving beauty even in devastation, and the unexpected forms that protection can take. It suggests that even in a world stripped bare, the echoes of the past, in this case, the Phantom and the Opera House, can play a vital role in shaping the future and offering a unique form of resilience.
Both of these flash fiction stories, which you brought to our attention, offer such compelling perspectives on survival, leadership, and the resilience of the human, and perhaps even spectral spirit. In the face of apocalyptic transformation, what resonated most with you about these wildly different tales? What other unexpected heroes might emerge when facing global catastrophe? That's definitely something to ponder. Until our next apocalyptic probe into the fascinating and sometimes terrifying landscapes of the Just NUKE 8 podcast. Don't forget to rate and follow for more thrilling explorations.